Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Stir Crazy. Today we are going to be doing a little bit of a sweet treat. We are going to be doing deep fried chocolate spring rolls. A very easy dish to make. It does take a little bit of prep time, so if you are doing this with us tonight, you'll be able to do the first step on with us, and then you will have to allow it to set in the fridge or freezer for at least 2 to 3 hours. Make sure it's set really nicely, which is the ganache, and then you will be able to make the spring rolls later. So firstly, before we get into it, we're obviously going to go through all of our ingredients and the equipment that's needed, and then we're going to get straight into it. Alright, so come on and take a look. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. We are going to need a half a cup of cream. We're going to need 2 tablespoons of butter, which is already in there. You can see there.
And that's a piece of chocolate.
Yes, that's a small piece of chocolate in there. And then you're going to need 350 grams of chocolate. It can be either dark chocolate or white chocolate. It doesn't really matter. I'm only going to show you how to do the one, and then you can always do it with the white chocolate if you really want to. Excuse me. The next you're going to need is obviously spring roll wrappers. I definitely recommend buying them and not making them, as it's a lot easier and it's consistent. And then you're going to need a little bit of water in a pot, and you're going to need one single egg that will help to close it. So as you can see, that's pretty straightforward. If you want to add anything interesting else to it, for example, I've got a banana here. You can always make chocolates and banana spring rolls. That's always quite a favorite one. You can also put other stuff in there as well. Some people like the strawberries, chocolate and strawberries spring rolls.
Peanut butter!
You can do a peanut butter spring roll as well as you can do apple spring rolls with chocolate as well, which is quite a tasty little treat. So in terms of the equipment that you're going to need a board of some sort to be able to put your spring rolls on. You're going to need some spatulas. You're going to need a pot for making the ganache, and you're going to need a pot of oil. Again, just like our last video, if you are using oil like this or any type of oil, be very careful. Obviously, oil is hot. You're going to burn yourself if you put your finger in there, and no one wants to see that happen, especially you. Alright, so the next thing is we're going to get straight into it because it does take a bit of time to put it all together. So what we're going to do is, if you are reading the recipe with us, I'm going to read the recipe step by step so that we are on the same page and we know exactly what's happening and when it's happening. So according to the recipe, it says bring the cream and butter to a boil at a medium heat, which is pretty straightforward. I've got a nice little pot here for that. The cream and butter, like I said, has already been mixed together, and you put that into your pot and you put it in. Now if you wanted to double this or halve this or triple this, whatever it may be, you obviously just times or divide the recipe. So there we go, put that in. And now we're just going to switch this on. Always make sure that your handles are facing away, especially when dealing with a pot of oil, because it will burn if you are not careful. And when you grab that handle, it will be super hot. So we're going to allow this to start boiling. To speed it up a little bit, so I'm going to close this up. But note I've still got a little vent there. If this lid closed the entire thing, just leave it open a little bit, and that speeds the whole thing up. But that should be fine. You want this to start to boil. So once it starts to boil, we'll throw our chocolate pieces in. So this is chocolate discs. So while this is busy going and actually chopping, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be chopping the chocolate up, because the smaller pieces the chocolate is in, the quicker the chocolate will melt.
Joanne says, hello!
Hello Joanne, how are you doing today? I hope you are doing the class with us. What?
Make the white chocolate ganache.
Well, I've weighed that, I haven't weighed it.
Okay, fine.
So what you're going to do is you're going to take the chocolate, just like this. So if you are using slabs, then you can obviously do the exact same thing. It doesn't matter which type of chocolate it is. Obviously, the better quality your end product will be. So your choice which chocolate you want to use. So all we're going to do with these discs is we're just simply going to chop them up. Just like that. It doesn't have to be as fine as this. So I can show you how rough it can be. It can be like chunks like that, like really big chunks like that. Just as long as they're not in its original solid form like that. So we're just going to chop all this up here, just like this. And we're just going to keep an eye. So if we take a look here, you'll see that our cream is starting to boil. So now we obviously don't want this to boil too much. So what we do is we just give the butter and cream a little mix. Reduce the temperature down so that we don't cook that cream, because we don't want to be cooking the cream, we just want to be melting the chocolate down, which is at that temperature now. So I'm just going to chop a little bit more. That almost hit the camera, hey?
Okay.
That was close.
It's fine, I cleaned up.
Fantastic.
Oh,
Alright.
Gotta love white chocolate.
So a little interesting fact about white chocolate. White chocolate is technically not chocolate.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually a byproduct of chocolate. It's a cocoa butter. And it's got a few other things in there. So if you do like white chocolate, you technically don't like chocolate.
I like all chocolates.
Fair enough, fair enough. Alright, so there we go. So you can see it nicely roughly chopped. It doesn't have to be anywhere. As you can see, my cream and butter nicely melted together. Straightforward like that. And put that temp right to the very bottom. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our chocolate. We're going to throw it in there. Just like that. And if you wanted to make like a mixture of chocolate, like if you wanted to do milk and dark chocolate or caramel or anything like that, you by all means can, by all means. So now with the temp at an absolute low, we're just going to give this a nice gentle mix until the chocolate is completely mixed. Now again, if you're doing this with dark chocolate, the whole thing would be the exact same. It would just be with dark chocolate, obviously.
Oh, it's thickening nicely.
Yeah, so now you take it off the heat, because if you notice, most of that chocolate has melted. There's a few little big chunks there. Take it off the heat and note that I'm constantly stirring it. If you just leave this on its own, likely it's going to split.
Can you whisk?
No, you definitely should not be whisking a ganache. Only use a spatula. If you do whisk it, you will almost force it to separate, and you definitely don't want that to happen.
So with the spatula stir.
With the spatula stir, and just kind of give it a good little mix, as if you were whisking it, but with a spatula.
Okay.
And that,
Oh, it's gone all shiny.
yeah. So it's gone shiny because we've technically started to temper the chocolate, but this isn't tempering chocolate. It's kind of like tempering chocolate. So as you can see here, the chocolate is gone nice and thick, just like that, and that's what you want. You don't want to. You want to make sure that if you pull this back like that, let's get a nice close look there. So if we pull back like that, if you can see, there's no like little spots. It almost looks granularly. If it is granularly, your chocolate has started to split, and this is not going to work. As you can see, it's got a beautiful, clean sheen there. That means that this is ready to go. And that's it. And that is chocolate ganache. If you're making dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, any type of ganache, that's it. That's how you make it. As simple as that.
Delicious.
So now what you do, you pour this into a heat-proof bowl. It can be a metal bowl, glass bowl, anything like that. And then you place it into a bowl. And this is where you'll be waiting for a while, because this needs to solidify. You put this into the fridge and you allow it to cool down. You leave it out for about 10-15 minutes just to cool down a little bit. Then you put it into the fridge and allow it to solidify as much as possible. That can take up to 3 to 4 hours depending on the temperature of your fridge, depending on the temperature of your room, the bowl, everything like that. So this right now I'm going to put into the fridge. I have made a ganache already, which will magically be appeared in camera view now. Ta-da! And I'll show all there. So obviously I made a dark chocolate ganache, as you can see. And let me show you how it's supposed to be. So, if you come here, you should be able to put your finger in there, and it should be soft, but it should be quite, you could almost mold it. It's almost like clay, like putty. And if you taste it, it tastes delicious.
Yay.
Here we are. So what you're looking for is,
Ooh,
if you pick this up, as you can see, it's not completely solid. However, it is moldable to a certain extent.
Can you
like
put
that.
the chocolate into an ice bath?
You can, you definitely can, yes. If you put it into an ice bath, do not leave it in the ice bath. Put it in the ice bath for 10, 15, 20 minutes. It should start cooling it down quite quickly. But just be careful there, because if you leave it in there too long, you'll start freezing the outside, or possibly start freezing the outside. And if you try and melt it down again, half slightly frozen chocolate or ganache will force it to split, especially if you want to heat this up again. For the purpose of what we're doing, this will work. But yes, in general, you can use an ice bath,
Just not too long.
but not a lot of chocolate either. If you, let's say if this was half full with chocolate, so you made like a massive amount, if you put it in an ice bath and you allow it to sit there, by the time the center gets very cold, the outside will be extremely cold and actually have two different temperatures. And as you're mixing it through, it will actually start to split because of that. So start with an ice bath, get it nice and cold around the outside, and then put it into the fridge. Right. So that is your time. So this is going to take time in the fridge, done. That's how it's going to be. The next little step is going to be making the spring rolls and actually frying them up. Now I've already got my oil on, so at this point you will start by getting your oil on. You want it to be about a medium temperature, between about 150, 180, right about there. Then you're going to take a clean bowl, have a cloth underneath it because that will make sure it doesn't move. And then we're going to start working with everything. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our egg. We're going to crack it in there just like that. You can take a fork, spoon, spatula, whisk, anything you would like. And you're just going to mix that egg until it is completely scrambled.
Mika says thank you.
Hi Mika, how are you? Alright, so we're just going to give it a nice little mix like that. Alright, so now we are going to open up our pack of spring rolls. Now you can get different type of pastries. So this is obviously from Spring Home. Spring Home. It's one of the most common spring roll pastries you can get out there, and in my opinion, probably one of the most trusted ones. I've used this in industrial scenarios. I've used this for many functions, for home use, for everything.
Yummy.
It is absolutely great stuff. You can do so much with this pastry. It's really great. All right. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to peel one single piece off. There we go. So be very careful because although the stuff is elasticy, so if I pull there, you note how my fingers keep going. Like that. Stretch it. It is quite stretchy, but don't stretch it too much. And just be very gentle when you actually pull it off here. Because again, if you're too rough with it, you're going to start tearing it and you're going to get holes and stuff in there. And obviously you don't want that. Take your whole piece and you're going to put it at an angle like that. But before you continue, the spring roll pastry that's sitting out, obviously you can see this piece over here sitting here. You're going to be using this one. This pastry over here that's not being used, you want to take a cloth and you want to cover. This will just help it from not drying out too quickly and staying as moist as possible. You could theoretically put a damp cloth on there, but that also makes your top layer quite soggy and you don't want that to happen. So do that just with a dry cloth and that should stay fresh. So what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to show you what a full square spring roll pastry, and then I'm going to cut it in half a second one, and I'll show you how to do a smaller one. So I'll do two different shapes. Alright, so the first one, you don't need to cut it at all. All you're going to do is you're going to take your egg, take your brush. Don't look at the rest of the brush, it's magically not there. Alright?
My bad.
So then you're going to take your brush, you're going to get into there, and you're going to work on the sides. Just like that. You don't want too much egg in here because after all this is a chocolate spring roll and not a chocolate and egg spring roll.
Ugh.
Yes. So you just get it enough and all the way to the ends and along the sides and edges. Now everyone's got their own special technique and whatnot on how to actually put an egg on. This is my technique, nothing special as you can see. The next little bit is the filling. Now this stuff looks like basically chocolate, a little bit softer chocolate peanut butter.
It's like Nutella.
Yeah. You
Actually,
could
a little bit thicker than Nutella.
Yeah, definitely thicker than Nutella. And if, on that note, if you wanted to, you could actually make this with Nutella.
Oh, Nutella ones.
Could. So now what you do, now note where I'm going to put this. Now you don't put this on the very end over here. You put it about a third way up here. And I'll show you why. So what we do is we take our chocolate ganache, we put it on, just like that, and we spread it out nicely, just like that. Now you can be quite generous, especially when you're doing a big one with the amount of filling you're going to do. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do this chocolate one and I'm going to throw some banana in there. Yay! So when it comes to the banana, straightforward, you top it, you peel it, and then you cut nice little strips out. And like I say, you can put so many different things into this, it's absolutely great. As you can see, the banana is a pretty good shape. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut a nice piece down, just like that. And obviously we take that very tip off. Now you can also be very generous with the amount. I'm just going to do a thin little slice like that. I don't know if you can see that.
There we go.
And I'm just going to put that right there. As you can see, it's roughly the same amount as the ganache itself. Need to dry my hands quick. Alright, no questions today. Everyone's quite quiet.
No.
Alright, so the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to start with the end piece. and it's a simple fold over. But don't put that piece down just yet. What you want to do is you want to roll your fingers along, in this case the banana, and actually tuck it in almost like that.
So you pull you
Yes.
pull the filling back to you.
Yes.
And then you put the
So you make it as tight as possible, and note how it's actually already kind of almost quite firm, and the actual pastry is now sticking to the other pastry. Alright, now what we're going to be doing is we're going to doing one fold over, just like that. Okay? Note that now the covers, if you've got any chocolate still sticking out, either stick it in or roll another one. You want to get to this point where there's nothing sticking out, and then you want to push down very gently.
Hold on.
And flatten that. There we go, there we go. So push down very gently and flatten that out. Make sure that all that pastry is sticking down. Now this is very important.
Otherwise
you're gonna have chocolate leaking into your oil. Not only is that dangerous, but have you ever had deep fried chocolate on its own?
No.
It's not pleasant at all. So now that this is right, you can already see the shape of your spring roll. Really, really good. The next little bit is you're gonna take your corners and you're gonna fold that directly over like that. I am doing this slow so that you guys can see, but you can go much faster if you want to. And then you just flatten that, making sure it's nice and solid, making sure that eggy bits is sticking nicely to the pastry, and you repeat on the other side over like that, making sure that your lines are as straight as possible, especially these two lines over here.
Okay, it looks like a little envelope.
Yeah, there we go. So now if you want to, for safety's sake, you can take a little bit more egg and you just brush it over here in the front. And yeah, again, you don't have to do this little part, it's just a safety precaution. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to follow through on the roll, making sure that the sides are in line with the sides, and you come to the top and just again dab it at the top there, just like that, and roll like that. And there you have a chocolate and banana spring roll.
Perfect little spring roll.
Yes, it is. Okay, so now what you can do is...
Cook it!
Yes, so that's going to happen now. So you could make hundreds of these and put them into the freezer and cook them when you want to. What you should be doing is once you've made them, don't try and take them one by one. So you made one, you stick in there, and you've got to make another one. Don't try and do that. For what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do that. But you guys don't do that. What you should do is make a whole bunch of them, put them into the fridge, allow them to cool down, 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes in the fridge, and then from there, drop them into the fryer. Again, for this, you want to make sure that all your sides is properly closed. As you can see, there's no like obvious open pieces. It's not really obvious that it's open in any way. So now, straightforward, I can take this, drop this in the fryer first. Yeah, can you see?
Yes.
So first what you do is going to take the very end of your samosa and just put it in, make sure your oil is hot enough.
Oh, it's sizzling.
Yes, that's what you want.
Well, your spring roll, not your
So now, you're going to, yeah, sorry, samosa, spring roll. Now I'm going to drop that in. And again, be very careful. You are going to have frying stuff happening. So obviously you want that to go. Alright, so I'm just going to grab some paper towel because obviously when stuff comes out of a fryer, it's going to be full of oil. You definitely don't want that.
Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I'm staying on this side of the counter
That's alright.
because of that oil.
There we go. So fresh thing doesn't want to come out properly. There we go. Tuck it in nicely. So all you're going to do is remember, that this is cooked. There's nothing in there that's raw. All you're doing is giving color to your pastry. That is it. If you have made a whole bunch of these and they are frozen, then obviously you want to cook them until that center piece is a little bit defrosted. But this should cook it within 2 to 5 minutes depending on where it is. This, I can tell you right now, is less than 30 seconds to go. It's been in for probably about 20 seconds. So less than a minute, this will be ready. And then when we cut it, you'll see what it looks like. Absolutely amazing. So as you can see, it's a very simple, very quick little dessert. But you can make lots of these ahead of time and enjoy it at any time as long as you have some oil to fry. So as you can see, this has come out absolutely beautiful.
Oh, yummy.
There we go. It's a little bit dark there because it was sitting at the bottom, so that's my fault. But let's roll there. So as you can see, I've dabbed all the oil off, and as you can see, there's one nicely fried chocolate spring roll. And then all you're going to do is obviously you would cook a whole bunch of these at the same time. and then you would serve them as is. You can leave them as is if you want to. You could also get some cinnamon sugar and sprinkle it on the top and serve it on a plate. But for the sake of what you've shown you guys, I'm going to take a knife straight forward, cut it at an angle, just like that.
Oh, listen to that crunch.
And you should have gooey chocolate banana spring rolls, as you can see, just like that.
Yummy!
So I'm going to save that chocolate just like that. And there you go. Serve this with a bowl of ice cream or anything like that, and it is amazing.
Yum.
And there you go.
Do you want me to get a bowl?
That's fine. I'll just put it here for now. All right. So that is how you make. Chocolate spring rolls. Again, you can make it with white chocolate, dark chocolate, anything like that. Have a look at our website for the photos, because I'm going to be doing some white chocolate as well, and we'll put ice cream and everything together, and you'll see just how amazing this is, all put together and presented. Also, have a look at the website as well. We also are doing some private online classes as well as other stuff as well. Please have a look at there, because they are really cool. Our next one is a South African safari that we can do online, virtually. It's a really, really tasty one. Ourselves will be doing it. And there's a lot of other things that you guys can have a look at and join us in with whatever you want to do.
Wendy has a question.
Yes, Wendy.
How does banana freeze? So it freezes, well, how does it'll freeze fine?
So in this case, obviously banana, when you freeze it, it turns brown. Okay, so in this case, rather make a banana spring roll fresh when you're going to be using it. If it's just a ganache, like the chocolate, then you can just take it from there and freeze it like that. You could still use it, because as you can see, you won't even see that banana. As you can see, you're only just seeing it now because the chocolate's oozing out. But you won't really even see the banana. And also, if a banana turns brown, it doesn't mean it's gone off. It just means it's been frozen. Or, yes. You know what I mean. But yes. Alright, so otherwise, have a look at the website. Have a look at what we have to offer. There's some really cool things happening.
You were going to do the half.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You might need another tray.
Yes. This one for me. It's fine. Alright, so my apologies. We'll do the other half now.
The white one's not shit yet.
No, it's fine. Alright, so we're just going to repeat the whole thing quickly, but this one I'll go quite quick.
And this is a half size here.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright, so take that off. There we go. Right, so the half size is pretty straightforward. Very similar to the full one, but you cut it from corner to corner. Like that. Split it open. And now you got your half here.
Like a little bandana.
Yeah. Alright, and then you're going to put that over. Now you do the same thing with the egg. You go along the edges. There you go.
And you be quite sparse with your eggs, so you do.
Yeah, you do it just enough to coat it and not enough to make an omelette.
Okay.
Okay, just like that. Then you take a little bit. So now remember, when this is triangle, you are essentially making half the size of those ones. So you put your ganache down.
You put it up the top.
Put it like that, as you can see. So this one I'm just going to do a straight chocolate one. The chocolate is delicious.
Yeah, delicious.
Yeah. So now what you're going to do is you're going to, instead of doing that first roll first, you want to take your fold and you want to fold it first this way. This way we'll close up the ends. Close up that end. Also right to where the ganache is. And you seal it that way. See? And then again in the front here, you want to just make that little space where the ganache is sitting.
So you squish it together into it.
Yeah, and again, make sure that all your sides are nicely straight and straight. You don't want your pastry to be skew or anything like that, because that's going to make your spring roll skew. Alright, so just like that, again, I want to take a dab of egg just on the sides here and on the front and back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold it over. And we do a small one, exactly the same as the one. So that was just that end piece that I'm just going to chop off. Just forward like that. And there you go. So now you've got almost exactly the same one, but half the size of the other one. And you're going to do the exact same thing, and you pop this into the fryer, which should take not even 2 minutes to fry. So you can take a look here, frying away. Take a look at the banana spring roll. Oh, how good does that look? Oh my word, I'm excited about that. Alright. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to check in there. Turn around, make sure it's frying nicely. As you can see, if you are doing it in a pot like this, you want to make sure that it's not too long on the bottom, otherwise you actually start cooking your spring roll as if it was in a pan or something like that. So as you can see, this again is pretty much ready. So we're just going to pop it out. You can see the color is really good. Always remember that as the spring roll cools down from the oil, the color gets a bit darker. So it might look quite white and fresh, and then you just take it out and it will darken a little bit as well. Phyllo pastry would work as well, but the problem with phyllo is it's quite thinner, so therefore it will actually brown a lot quicker, and you have to be a bit more liberal with the egg as well, so you'll need to put more of this on. Reason being is it can fall apart quite easily and goes quite crunchy and crumbly, where obviously spring roll pastry is better. But yes, you can use phyllo pastry, definitely. Alright. I'm going to give the camera back and then I'll show you the next little bit. So over here in the background we've got ice cream that's appeared. How amazing is that? And what you could do is you could just serve these spring rolls like this. Maybe put 2 or 3 crisscross like that. Or you could take these large ones, and again, just going to take that one off for now. You could put these across like that. I mean, how amazing does that look just on its own like that?
Delicious.
Then what you can do with your tiny little spring roll, you could always just eat it like that straight away, but I don't recommend it. Just came out the fryer.
It's going to be hot.
But just for the sake of showing what it is, again, I'm just going to cut it straight in half, and it should have oozing chocolate coming out. So again, you could just put that like that, like little cylinders.
You can see the little size difference as well.
Yeah, you definitely can see the size difference. And then that together, maybe a little bit of
shaved chocolate.
Shaved chocolate or something like that, which I'll quickly do now. Get some little shavings here. There we go. There we go. Get some chocolate shavings on there, and now we have a real dessert that hasn't taken long at all. There we go.
Oh, that looks delicious.
Cool. So thank you guys, thank you once again. Again, have a look at our website, see what's happening there. There's loads of things, private classes, extra classes, things like that. Hope you all are staying safe, and I hope to see you again next time. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye.